That's what she was doing. She's getting, right.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Folks, if you would stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you would, folks, just turn your cell phones to silent or turn them off, just not to disturb the meeting. And I will ask Sarah to take a roll call.
All right, Councilman O'Flaherty,
Present.
Councilman Castillo,
Here.
Councilman Fazio, and Supervisor DePew.
Present. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, at this time, I would like to, I'm gonna have two additions here, but let me just do this. There is no public hearing, and we'll go through the minutes first. I'd like to make a motion not to read the minutes of the previous board meeting. Have a motion on the floor not to read the minutes of the previous board meeting with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. I would also like to make a motion that we accept the board minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
And a motion on the floor to accept the previous board minutes with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Next thing, I have two additions. And the first one I am going to do is cross landscaping. The cross was before us 2 meetings ago, I believe, correct? Mm-hmm. And they're here again tonight. So if you folks want to step up. I'll let you that. You've got a good one. Yep, you have a good one. Alrighty. Okay, as previously discussed at the town board meeting, there was a little confusion as to what was presented to the board originally. Originally, it looked like the parcel itself was, I believe, 9.8 acres. Is that true?
Not
In the original, we subdivided.
Say 10, yeah, and then you subdivided the yellow house, and now it's
8.4,
green.
now.
Yeah.
8.70.
Okay, so it was, contiguously, it was almost 10 acres of property. So as, in its entirety, it does sit within the district for the sidewalks. Subdividing that lower parcel, it remained residential. And the board at the time, when we talked about it, and the board can jump in anytime and correct me if I'm wrong, we collectively believe that that's residential. And until that changes, there is no sidewalks that's required for that parcel. Originally, I was told that from the southern portion of the gravel driveway entering the project area that you were going to do, that the sidewalk was going to be on the north side of that gravel driveway to the north side of Plattekill Road.
The south side.
Yes, the south
South
point.
side.
Patty cleared that up when she was here last time.
Yeah,
So,
south side of the entrance.
and I actually was given this map just to show you what I had seen.
Okay.
So this is what I originally was told. It was gonna be on the north side of the entrance to the north side of the Torah Road. So, that being said, I know that it's been back and forth with the planning board. Each one of us, I believe, and again, the board can correct me if I'm wrong, has visited the site more than once, I'm sure. But looking at that, there's a parcel that has been removed. We won't worry about that. On the north side of that property, there is quite a large area, not a large area, it is quite a drop off, but it's a wetlands up there, so it doesn't make any sense to put something through there. If you look on the other side of the railroad bed, the entrance to that lower parking area, that also on the other side, the sidewalk is stopped, and that was due to a wetlands area as well.
Okay.
So what we had looked at was kind of a compromise. The way that the law is written is you
And
either
I
put.
brought copies of the law,
I
just
knew
in
you would.
case.
That's funny, I didn't even make copies because I knew you'd bring. So the law is here. So basically what it says, and you can actually read it if you'd like. Patty, you read it before? Right to a T. So that law says basically, you can put the sidewalks in, or if the sidewalks are not required, you go to the supervisor's office, establish an account, or establish a monetary amount, and that's given to the supervisor to put into the sidewalk fund, and that would be for future development in the town. So that sidewalk fund It does not say in that law what the actual value of that sidewalk is per linear foot, per square foot, per cubic feet. There's no definitive answer in there. So, in the past, what the board has done is they've looked at each project and they've looked at them as a standalone project. So what we had looked at, originally you folks wanted to stop on the north side of Pedora Road. What we would like to do as a board, we collectively had spoken, this line here and this lot is known as the Stoon property. So continue that the sidewalk for 88 feet approximately, so it coincides with that northern boundary line of that property. So that compromise would be that you would put that in from the southern portion to that point and not required to put it in from that point north.
Quick question.
Yes.
The state knows that, they're gonna ride machines on it,
Yeah, let me show you, yeah, he
Okay.
doesn't wanna go any
Yeah,
further,
it's
he's
stopping
okay,
there.
he's stopping.
Stopping
So
before.
what we were just
I
talking
gotcha.
about
Yeah.
is, see where this lawn area is here?
Yep.
The state goes in and mows that.
Understood.
So it makes actually good sense to bring it up to maybe even a little bit further than that boundary line, up maybe in line with that utility pole.
Yep. And
Because
that's
then
what we
when,
looked at.
then when
Yeah.
they mow,
cleaner.
they'll be able to still go on that lawn without disturbing the sidewalk. But from here, you have the sidewalk and then be able to come off the roadway and walk the lawn for
So
that area.
exactly what you're saying. When, and my numbers aren't accurate, I'm not a surveyor. I just did it offline through the partial search. But if you look at this property and you look at it, the email that you sent me today, I ran some numbers with the information that you sent me. So where this property intersects with this property line, in that northern portion of that, it stops. There's about 270 feet approximately
okay,
that will take you up to the wetlands.
okay.
So you still have 270 feet of road frontage before you hit the wetlands. When you hit the wetlands,
I got it.
it's an additional 200 feet. I think it was like 465, 470.
Yeah,
It's quite a
203 and 140, so 350,
Yeah.
almost 350 feet.
So, kind of indirectly, we're not going to require you to put the sidewalk in here,
Okay, gotcha.
okay?
Okay.
This and this, if there's ever a subdivision or a change of use, or something that has to be brought back for another site plan approval, it's a perfect spot for a little burger joint. It's a perfect spot for an ice cream stand. It's a perfect spot for many things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where your site plan would trigger something else for the existing portion of that property.
Okay,
If you were
gotcha.
to subdivide and sell that property, then that's up to those folks what they're going to do in the
Gotcha.
future.
Okay,
But just running some quick numbers, and again, they're not accurate numbers, but you're talking at $30 a linear foot, doing it yourself to the specs. You're talking about approximately $14,280. If we were to do that at $300 a foot, and keep in mind, when you're doing government, you have to pay prevailing
Yeah,
wage, you have to go out and
prevailing
engineer, you
That's
have
where
to
we're
do all
going
that
from the
stuff.
30 to the,
I
up to
understand.
possibly.
$142,800.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. And that's only the first 476 feet that you were talking about. The remainder of that, at $300 a foot, would be an additional $171,600. So the amount of square footage or linear feet that we're asking you to do is going to be a difference. Basically, again, these aren't accurate numbers, they're just for reference. It's a difference of $2,880.
I'm fine with doing what you did.
So
If that's what's best for you.
I am happy you are fine with that. I think that that's a good compromise.
Yeah,
Something that, and I will poll the board, for the remainder of that property, I would like to not take money into escrow for that and handle that as a standalone project when it comes before us next time.
okay.
I think that's fair to everybody, and I think that's fair to you, and I think that's a good compromise. And Mr. Fazio?
The only question I have, if you don't take any money from them for escrow, down the road with other people, are we setting a precedence where they're gonna be like, well, you didn't do it for that, what happens to us?
Understood.
But is it, but it's a subdivision, if they subdivide that. and
If there's
sell it,
ever a change of use, it would have to be done.
At that point, that's when they have to do it, right now they're just gonna leave it vacant.
Yes, but, okay,
No,
You follow
fine,
what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, down the road,
Oh, yeah.
because we have to start looking ahead, we keep looking behind,
Yeah, you're
we're
right,
gonna be in more trouble.
Understood.
yeah.
Okay, so what would your
I mean, cause
opinion be?
it dips off, I would like to see a little something in the account, Cause where you're showing them the line, that's kinda where it dipped off when we looked at
That's where
it,
it
just,
starts.
just beyond there, yeah.
Yep. And then down further, it dips off quite a
Yes.
bit, down where it is actually designated as wetlands.
Right, because the
Yeah,
other
we
thing.
need steps to get to the sidewalk.
Yeah, the other thing that it does provide for in here is that the planning board shall have the authority to allow for phased construction of the pedestrian walkway. So if we said for phase one of this particular building, that's where the sidewalk is going to end. And, as the supervisor said, when future development, if future development happens, at that point in time, we would need to revisit it. It's
Right.
not that it's being waived forever.
Yeah.
It's being phased for this particular construction project is how I think perhaps it could be phrased in whatever resolution the board makes so that it's clear you're not giving them a free ride forever,
Right.
but you're phasing
Doing it
it
in
for
phase-
this
phase one.
particular.
So that's up to the planning board then to have that written down, taking care of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would hurt to have, because again, the town board is the one who
Signs off.
signs off
Yeah.
on it.
So that being said, I do find value in what you're saying, and I totally understand that. When we're talking about a sidewalk account, the account was established so that we can gain funds in there in the hopes to eventually take those funds and match them for any kind of government, federal, whatever, to expand our sidewalk district or our sidewalks in the future. So there is a number of residential lots that are along the way that there's no provisions to do that, so it would be by the taxpayer's expense, one way or another, either through local or a larger grant, still taxpayer money. So I do find value in what you're saying, and I do agree with you. Under the circumstances, again, I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, are you going to do, it's not up to us to say, are you going to subdivide it, are you going to do this, life changes, but,
But it would be safe to
What's
say
value?
that it's the first phase.
yeah, and that being said, myself, I'm still comfortable with that, and it makes good sense, and it does make good sense what you're saying as well, it really does. The more funds that we do have in that account gives us a better opportunity to get those matching funds in the future. We have sidewalk problems, we have sidewalk issues that we have to address, so, understood. Any questions or anything that you'd like to ask?
Do you have a question?
No,
All
As
right.
long as it's worth
Yeah.
phased, are you good with, okay, because it's not waiving them forever. So I know that's your, again, I hear you about setting precedents, right, we want to be.
Okay, Mr. Castillo.
I'm fine with it, doing it in phases, I have no problem with that.
Okay, any questions you'd like to ask?
When you gonna get it done?
I'm ready. I've been waiting 2 years.
Yeah,
I know, no, but, no, I'm very comfortable with it.
okay.
It's gonna be a beautiful building.
Yeah, it's gonna look
I
really
plan to landscape it.
Everything you do is beautiful.
Probably put some Christmas lights out too.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah, go on the radio, 'cause my grandniece wants, I gotta go see the house.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're good,
32.
Councilman O'Flaherty.
No, I think
Any
it's gonna
questions,
look really
comments?
good, no. My only question was with the escrow account, how do you value what you're gonna have to fund into it?
That is another,
You know what I mean?
another,
Because it could
how would I
actually,
say,
just the
that
cost of the
is something that we
sidewalk.
have to address, because if you look at that, and like the reality is, if you look at that and somebody puts it in escrow, the way that the law reads is that it goes to the supervisor's office and puts the money in. So if you look at it as a flat law, so to speak, with our E-codes, it looks like, if you're gonna put in that entire sidewalk and it's going to be $317,000, then the projection would be done by an engineer. What does that $317,000 look like 10 years from now and 20 years from now?
Right.
And there's going to be a value. And it can be done through bond, or it can be done through cash, and basically, the way the law is written, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically a monetary amount that goes into that fund. So, that's a law I feel has to be revisited and updated, and actually finished, if you will. But it is the law that we have, it's the law that we've utilized for many years, and this is where we are at this point. And it's kind of like chasing our tail, so it is something we really should address in the future.
I mean, it just makes more sense for him to pay out of pocket,
Yeah,
to just put it in versus guess.
absolutely.
It would never be,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think until the law is changed, revised, completed,
Yeah, we have to
this
follow-
this kind of makes the most sense, right? I mean,
Yes.
there's
Yeah, you have
not
to
too
come
many
up with this
options.
compromise, have to.
So,
Otherwise-
I will, if you would just bear with me, you have that section lot and block number for that parcel. we know what that is going to be. And I will make a motion that we require the sidewalk to go up to that point in conjunction with the northern portion of that property, known as the Stone property.
Yep, and we can even, say, 20 feet short of utility pole 144873, and then there's a physical feature in the field, because I don't know that the boundary line, that's an approximate tax map line across
Yes,
the street,
yes.
and then we have a physical feature that we could
Yep.
all know exactly on the
Yep.
ground where it's gonna be,
Understood.
if that's acceptable to the board.
So I'll make a motion that we move forward, and we do not require the escrow for the remaining portion of that.
I'll second
Until there
that.
is a actual change in the future. So, got a motion on the floor, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're gonna get it done. Good question. That's good.
Thank you very much. Second edition. We have a letter to read, and this is concerning Ulster County Department of Finance. And this letter was originally authored and sent to Sarah Nelson, our tax collector, Town of Plattekill, P.O. Box 45, Modena, New York, 12548. This is Read Total Collection Solutions. Dear Ms. Nelson, now I will tell you that I received the same letter, and we have received updates on the letter also. Just to give you a kind of synopsis of what this is, I would like to read it, and then I'll explain it to you. Ulster County has purchased a new tax system through Systems East Incorporated called Total Collection Solutions, TCS. The county may be able to purchase a permanent software license in first year of the software maintenance of your municipality, subject to final drafting and approval of an intermunicipal agreement. As you may be aware, Ulster County Information Services will no longer be supporting the Ulster County tax collecting software used by most towns. We encourage we encourage you to consider adopting TCS as a replacement. Should the county decide to purchase license on behalf of the towns, the offer will only be for software that is being purchased out. But it also creates a more unified tax collection system throughout the county, and we create a smoother process at tax settlement time. When preparing your annual budget, please keep in mind there will be a yearly maintenance and support fee. This will be your town's responsibility to pay after year one of maintenance, $135 a year, if license purchasing with bulk licensing, period. Otherwise, it would end up being $595. So it's kind of, if we purchase or go into the agreement now, then our burden for our maintenance agreement will be $135 a year. If we decide not to do it and prolong it, our current tax software will be outdated, and eventually that same fee will end up costing us $595. So, software demonstration for the system will be held on May 9, 2024 at Sopus Town Hall. You're encouraged to attend the demonstration, and we'll have an opportunity to ask questions that you may have. And it says, please be advised, my office would like to consider using TCS at your town. I look forward to hearing from you sincerely. Roseanne Daw, MBA, CPP, Ulster County Commissioner of Finance, RD/DS. So I will tell you this, that we have budgeted for this. We anticipated this happening, and it's kind of, for lack of better words, we're kind of being forced to do it, and it makes more sense to do it now than it is 2 years from now and have our cost increase for that yearly maintenance. So, any questions at all, guys?
No, basically, it's pay me now or pay me later, so we're
100%.
forcing you to do it.
Yeah, so
100%.
start paying less now.
Yeah, and I will tell you, it's a big change, and there's a lot of controversy with the change, and there's a lot of things to figure out, and as everything that comes down the pipe new is. But Sarah, you have anything you'd
No.
like to add, or you good?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're on.
so at this time, I would like to I'm not gonna make the motion, but I will entertain a motion. If somebody would like to make a motion that we go forth with changing over to this TSC and giving me, the supervisor, the authorization, and Sarah Nelson, our town clerk, the authorization to sign any pending contracts or whatever that we have to for the future. So
Just
if somebody would like to make that motion,
real quick, there's two people that had questions. I don't know if we had a.
hold on.
I don't, yeah,
What's that?
I didn't know if we were
They're
answering
asking
questions about it.
No, I'm answering questions here first.
Oh, no, I'm
okay.
good with it. I took training on it, we're good.
Okay. So, who would like to make a motion on the board?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the board to authorize the supervisor to sign the contracts for that with the county finance department, correct? Okay, and as well as our town clerk, Sarah Nelson, if has to or needs to, and to move forward with this. Any questions from the board?
No.
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? So carried. Okay, at this time, out of respect for you, ma'am.
I was gonna ask if anyone had gone to the training, which was back in May, and Sarah.
Yes.
I
You
did, yeah.
excellent.
We have
Great.
another one coming up too.
Good.
And I believe that one is October 10th, I know I wrote it
Thursday,
down.
yeah, either
Yeah.
the 9th or 10th.
but I plan on attending it as well with Sarah.
Good.
And I know with the Supervisors Association meetings, we've been talking about it all summer, well, all spring long, I should say, through the summer. So we're very aware of it. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's an evil necessity, it's a sign of the times, it's a necessity and it's an opportunity. So it is where we are. So very good, thank you very much.
Dean, I have a quick comment if I may.
Quick one?
Real quick. The town might want to consider asking for any potential future price increase to be limited to a certain percent.
That's already built into it.
Great.
Yep, already built in. Okay, so now I will go back and get on track here. And I'd like to make a motion to open public input at 7:23 PM.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to open up public input at 7:23 PM. With a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. This is your folks' time to ask questions, make comments. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Thank
Doing
you.
very well. Earlier today, I dropped off a letter. Hopefully each of you have been able to read it and receive it. This is built on the letter that I wrote and the presentation in December 1st of 2023 regarding Liberty View Farm. First, I want to thank the supervisor and also the building inspector for working with us, keeping open lines of communication, and for getting the stop work order put in place. That has been, it's a positive. Unfortunately, it has since been violated at least twice, maybe more. But I'll leave that up to the town to discuss into detail. Also, in that packet was a picture, which I think you all have, and it speaks for itself. And there might be, you might want to reference it as the evening goes on and other people present. My question, or the question, not my question, this is probably about 15 residents that signed this particular letter. A wide spectrum of people across the immediate area that are impacted by this activity. The stop work order by its very nature is temporary. So my question to the board, our question to the board is what's next? And I'm gonna ask the board to take control of this process. You'll see, I'm not gonna read it again word for word because I'm sure you all have had a chance to do so. You can see that as far as we can see, this is illegal, period. If not before, then certainly now. Because we have received something from Ag and Markets that they haven't met the standard. I don't know what that is, I haven't read the communication, and Dean pointed that out to me. But they haven't met the standard, so they cannot persist in this activity under Ag and Market law. We go back to 2014, where Joe Cicero made a determination that the current zoning laws, their weddings is an inappropriate activity in a residential or Ag 1.5 district. So there's no opportunity for them to pursue this. It's simply illegal, it was and it is, in our opinion. Then the impact upon the community, I think you all know, it's been extreme. We can't enjoy a single weekend outdoors. We don't ever know when something is going on. This past weekend, stop work order in effect, blasting PA, blasting music,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you call the police at that time?
We call the police every time.
No, what
Every
I'm saying
time.
is, and told them that it's a stop work order?
Yes,
Did they
so
go down?
actually, it changed 2 weeks ago from a noise complaint to a stop work order. Now,
Right.
the building inspector did send an email directing us what to do in the event that we saw something, and that was to call the police and simply register it. And when they're working, and I must tell you, out of 3 of the 4 times I called, Plattekill was not on duty. And we're talking Saturday evening. But that's now the sheriff has covered, but then it's a record issue, which is it's up with the sheriff's office, in my opinion at least, or instead of with Plattekill, where it can easily be accessed. But yes, we have done that every single time this summer. And we have a lot as well, as does the police. So when they're on duty, we have come up, and they've been great. And they always have been great. They've responded and they've documented, they've understood it. This time, I said to the sheriff, why don't you just go straight over there? Because this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the building department and the stop work order. And he said, well, that's not really a police matter. I says, it isn't, but Plattekill, that's how they're managing it. But I was also expecting that the PD was on duty, but we have called them. And within 30 seconds of my call, there was another emergency on site, which I was unaware of until the fire whistle went off. And so I know that the state police were there. I assume the sheriff was there because that's what they said they would do. It had to be across the room. The calls must have been going on. So I had no awareness of this. But in any event, it has been documented.
And from that, Gene, if I heard correctly, I guess the fire department or ambulance couldn't get in there?
I have no information on that. I wasn't part of it. I've never stepped foot on his property. But I believe he might be here to talk about that. And the other is the repeated disregard for laws and regulation. It just goes on and on and on from the very onset in 2012, 2011, something
Yeah.
like that. These are my neighbors, Tom and
I've been there almost 40 years.
Patty
Had it
Murphy. I was gonna say,
perhaps
I
it'll be
almost said
40 years
Patty.
in March, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, understood.
So I'm asking the board, what's the next step? How are we gonna see this to its final conclusion? We are absolutely committed to seeing this activity cease permanently.
So I will tell you this, as I had many conversations with you in the past, and I'll
That's
just
true.
reiterate for the folks that are here, with you. We want to see everything come into compliance as well. This is something that we are taking seriously. I have 100% faith in our building department following through with everything that needs to be done. He has reached out to the appropriate agencies. He's documented, I feel, appropriately. He has crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and will continue to do so. And although it doesn't seem like it's a very quick process, government is inherently slow, but I have to say that I have full faith that the building department will do an accurate job and bring whatever that's out of compliance into compliance.
Well, as Patty had mentioned, it's been 14 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understood.
I mean,
I
we're
know
beyond
myself,
patient.
I have been around since 2013, and I know you folks have been in here in 2015, 2016, 2 years ago, I believe, again, towards the middle end of the pandemic. So I'm very aware that it's an ongoing issue, very aware of the geographical area up there, that the air drainage and noise drainage has got to be terrible going up that hill.
So what's the next step then?
The next step is to follow the prescribed path that we are following. I can't tell you 100% what we're doing. All I can assure you is that we are doing it in accordance to the law, step by step. We're in contact with the Department of State, contact with the Department of Agriculture, and doing his due diligence. Unfortunately, I will apologize, but I'm apologizing for the state and how government works. It's slow, and it's unfortunate. You folks have been, receiving a perceivable beating for quite a long time up there. And I feel for you guys, but I don't want to say our hands are tied, because they're not. It's just not a quick fix. But I can assure you that it's being taken care of. It's not being pushed off to the side. It's not put behind other projects is not thought about on a daily basis. It
And
is.
and certainly that's a communication we have had, and for that, we're grateful. Going forward, though, I would request transparency in terms of what's going on. I know there's certain information that maybe we can't see.
Yep.
And I've not foiled, or we have not foiled any of the documents that have gone back in recent times. Probably we won't, at least not right now, I don't see the reason to. But there has been 2 violations for which he's not been cited, and I find that curious. I mean, the first violation, I would think he would be cited, and the second one again, bring him in front of the judge.
Well, again, and I've told you this many times in the past, when it's in litigation, or it's in the enforcement steps, or it's in the process, we can't discuss that. And
There's litigation?
Excuse me?
There's litigation?
No, I'm saying the possibility of litigation.
Well, there's always that.
Well, there is, but right now we're doing our due diligence, and to talk about something that doesn't exist and bring something into the fold, perception is reality. And I don't wanna give you something that you're gonna perceive as one way and then take it down the road and say, hey, what the heck, what's going on? How come this didn't happen? I never wanna lie to you, I never wanna mislead you. I can assure you, and I will over and over, until it's not there, and then I will assure you what path we're taking or not taking. We all took an oath to protect, to do whatever we can for the residents and the taxpayers in the town of Plattekill, and I think we all take that very seriously. And the folks that are working here are very dedicated to what they're doing, and they're doing their due diligence, I can assure you
But
that.
that's what we hope for and expect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so members of the board, this is a true quality of life issue.
Understood.
for us.
Understood.
We pay our taxes, and expect everybody here to represent us.
Understood.
Totally
And aggressively.
illegal operation
Yeah.
that's been let to continue, no matter whatever efforts have been put forth. Yes, things are slow. They do take time.
Yeah.
Again, thank you for listening to us.
Yes,
And
we're doing
my
more than
door is always
listen.
open, you can contact
hope
me
so.
anytime.
We are, no, I'm
'Cause
just
it's
telling you that
ridiculous.
it's on our plate and it's being actively pursued.
With our windows shut and the doors closed, you can feel the vibrations of the music, and I'm down by the gunk house. He's up on the hill,
Yeah, so it's just.
so he's not even
amplified.
close to me.
Still here. And you have an operation, business operation right next door to that benefits from this illegal activity also. There's a bed and breakfast
Yeah.
next to it. Probably more than coincidental that they were very busy on weekends when there's an event happening there.
Understood.
And it makes business sense, I get that, but totally illegal. I'm sorry if this impacts eventually that bed and breakfast, not our fault. It's the person that's keeping that business going and thumbing his nose at
Understood.
everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Phil Savory's Chief Clinton Fire Department. I responded to that call the other evening, and what we had to do is play musical cars to get our equipment in, turn our vehicle around up in the orchard, come back down. The same thing with the town of Socus ambulance. Now, our mission statement is life safety of the residents of our district. And to get in there, if we had a bigger emergency, a fire or anything else like that, there's absolutely almost no road in there, it's like a path. And also from looking around there, no visible fire extinguishers or anything going on there. It looked like basically, there's no room to move, no room to get our equipment in and do anything else like that. So I understand the process the town has to go through, but barring a real emergency, I mean, it looks like a conflagration back there.
Yeah. And I appreciate your input, and it has been documented very well. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Supervisor Ricky Brooks, immediate past Chief Clintondale. As officers, we raid our properties within our district, covers part of Lloyd and Plattekill. And we have 3 properties rated as high risk to life. This is the second one, the middle one. Above that is the Highland Inn, which we had a major event Saturday, Sunday, I
Monday
forget.
night.
We had somebody
Monday
close
night.
this week, Monday night. And then we had this facility,
Sunday.
Sunday. And this facility is a big concern to us. Because there is no enforcement of the original site plan, conditions, and there's seemingly no support when we call for help through the town. Although Ed Diller is moving forward with it. It is a concern of ours. It's right below Highland Inn, which is, we're gonna lose lives up there someday, I'm sure of it. And then
What is Highland Inn? Is that the?
Bill Bag,
The old
Bill
building back
Baker?
there.
Okay.
yeah.
You had a ceiling fire or something there, fan?
Yeah, but once you get into that building, that entire, single-story row of houses, 15 apartments, was all, extension cords and power cords feeding the major appliances down below. So that's been vacated by Ed Diller, our building inspector, and, you know, it's the second building up there right now that's vacated, deemed uninhabitable. But it is a concern of ours, and quite frankly, you know, when we get pulled out that, and the same night, across the street, we had another incident that required 2 fire departments to respond to it. And people from the bed and breakfast and from the driveway came out into the middle of the street, you know, taking pictures and videotaping and stuff, all seemingly guests of the event that was going on at the time. So that made a difficult situation for us to handle also. So it's gotta be reined in.
Understood. I will tell you that it is being addressed, and it is being taken very serious. And I appreciate the fact that you folks came here tonight and the input that you've had all along as well. And documentation is key to everything. So I appreciate that. Anyone else?
I just have a question. What happens this weekend, if he's got another event this weekend?
Then the town needs to be notified. And I will give you a number directly to call to notify us if something does go on.
Because
Instead of the police, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Well, I would
instead
still
of-
follow that, plan, but also I would ask that you would give our building department a call, and I will make arrangements. I'll speak to you if you'd like to stop in, and I will give you the contact information as well. All right? Ms. Laskowski?
Why is the meeting for September 18th being changed?
Because we have possibly 3 of our members won't be able to attend on the 18th, so we're gonna have it the night before. We're also gonna talk tonight about having at least 1, if not 2 workshop meetings. We may be able to do that at that night also. The workshop meetings are gonna be concerning the RFPs. We'll talk about that when we come up onto it, it's on the agenda. Hey, anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I just had a question. I don't know if anybody on the board is able to answer this, or if we would talk to the code enforcement officer. But when there is a stop work order on a site and they're in violation of it, I thought that somebody in the town, either the code enforcement officer or the police, had the ability to enforce that stop work order by going onto the site and vacating the premises. Is that not the case?
I believe so as well, and I think that concerning that, I think that's a better question to ask directly, because there probably is a reason why something didn't happen right away. Yes, ma'am.
Questions on, well, your resolution for
Yes.
the ARPA money
Mhm.
and the playground equipment? There's several things in there.
Yeah.
According to what I'm reading here, my interpretation, so I'm asking you if I'm correct or not, it says that you're spending $338,000 on the Gaga pit, the pickleball court, and the playground equipment and removal.
Yes.
So that's the whole, everything? The new playground equipment?
No, the playground, that's supporting a grant that we received also from the county to purchase the playground equipment. We had a dollar for dollar up to $100,000. So we received a $100,000 grant from Ulster County for the playground equipment, and then with the additional monies, we had to match that funding, and then we had any additional money on top of that $100,000 that we put in. I believe it's 122,000. I'm not sure of the exact numbers. So we filed for a grant. The playground is approximately $220,000. The $100,000 came from Ulster County in the form of a grant. We utilized the ARPA funds to support the other $120,000 of that. The resolutions that we have that we're gonna read tonight, basically those resolutions are, we already have that money has already been allotted, we're just moving it into the appropriate accounts, that's all we're doing. That's what the resolutions are for tonight.
Okay, the playground, the old playground equipment has been removed?
The old playground equipment, originally what we were going to do is the old playground equipment, one of the first things was there wasn't a value that was determined for that equipment. There was talk about just removing that equipment and getting rid of it and recycling it at the landfill or wherever they recycle that kind of stuff. So in further conversations, it came up, Councilman Fazio had looked at, I believe, Auctions America and a couple other auction sites.
Oh, yes.
And we found that there was value in that equipment. So we felt collectively that it was smarter to put that out for bid, and that way the removal would be done by the person who bid and was awarded the bid onto it. It made sense. We would require them to have the appropriate insurances intact and have it removed. However, professionally, it would be their equipment, and we would, even if it was $100, the price and time that we would save by removing the equipment would have been well worth it. After getting ready to put it out, we also started talking, and we felt that there was value in that equipment, that if the library would like to have that, they're in the process of trying to expand the library, put an addition on, and we thought that it was a pretty neat idea. We're going to recycle that equipment, to recycle it in our own community by donating it to the library. So we made that offer to the library. It took, I think, 2 weeks before they had their board meeting. And they voted, and they decided they wanted the equipment. So to me, it was a win-win for the community. Even though we didn't receive $1 for it, we still have the value of that equipment and a second opportunity for the kids. And a lot of them had grew up on that. And I hate to say, there's probably a couple in the room that grew up on that. But it's nice to have the opportunity not only to be in our park, but to go to the library and utilize that equipment. So that deal was made, and the library hit the ground running, started dismantling the equipment. They had, I believe, a company volunteer or donated their equipment, manpower, and trucks, and they moved that out of there Tuesday morning, I believe it was. So all that equipment's been removed from the site. That's now located in storage over somewhere with the library property, I assume. And tomorrow, I am hoping that the gentleman who was contracted to remove the mulch is the same company that's installing the equipment, the new playground, that he is supposed to be there on site around 10 a.m. in the morning and start to remove that material. So that material that we're removing, which is the old mulch, a lot of that has rotted down, turned back to Mother Earth. Nature's taken it back, and we have the opportunity. We are going to need some topsoil in the future to do some landscaping around the Gaga pit and the pickleball. If you look, the landscaping or the drop, it's quite a bit higher, the concrete, than the ground. So there is AK Farms who sells mulch, or excuse me, not mulch, but topsoil. He does composting. So I had been in conversations with him, and rather than take the mulch and take it up to our transfer station and kind of put it over the hill and not do anything with it or compost it ourselves, we're going to give him the mulch, and in turn, we're going to get back some topsoil when we're ready for it. So it's a win-win all around. So the pickleball court, the Gaga pit, the playground, those three are the major, I guess, pieces of equipment, so to speak, that we're adding and rebuilding to the park. It's also the board's anticipation to put in 2 volleyball nets with a possible sand surface for folks to go down and enjoy volleyball, as well as badminton down there. And there's other conversations that we've been having off and on with the board members collectively about putting some new benches around all of that equipment so the folks can enjoy their children or rest or watch the pickleball or what have you. So we're going to dress up that whole area.
So you're saying that the cost of the removal of the old mulch,
The old mulch, yeah.
is really zero because you're gonna swap it with?
I'm not gonna say it's zero, no, because they gave us a price to remove it, And it's a certain, it's up to, we approved last meeting, up to $10,000. We don't anticipate spending the entire $10,000, but it's not going to be an easy deal to move the mulch. It sounds like it will be, but there's a lot of water under that mulch, there's a lot of mud, there's a lot of muck over there. So when we remove the mulch, the anticipation is to let the area dry out, bring back some bank run to stiffen up the ground a little bit. And who better than the individual that's going to have to basically guarantee the equipment that's going in there, who better to do it the right way than that gentleman. So he is also a source well contractor, so he comes off the bidding process, the approved contracting source.
Moving on to the playground, the new playground equipment.
Yeah.
Is there going to be equipment for handicapped children?
Yes, I believe the majority of that, if not all of it's going to be ADA compliant. And that was a very important thing that we looked at.
ADA compliant
Yes.
does not mean that a little kid who can't really move around can be on there, on a swing or something.
Understood. The ADA compliant swings, I believe, what you're asking is the ones that were actually, it's like a saddle, if you will, where a child is placed in and there's no opportunity to fall out of it. It kind of goes around.
5-point hit, 5-point?
I'm not an expert at it, but that sounds familiar to me, yes.
Who decided what equipment is going in there?
We actually started this process, I would say probably about 2 years ago. And we actually asked, with the opportunity that we were going to get the grant, we asked our highway superintendent to put out a feeler to get some estimates on the playground equipment, and he came back with two different versions. And through that period of time, from the time we received them to the time we actually signed the contracts, some of the equipment changed a little bit. I will tell you, one of the biggest reasons why we changed the equipment was maintenance. Some of the equipment actually had like a nylon cotton type rope, and we felt that that would be a maintenance issue and a possible failure point. There was some other things that didn't look like they would be conducive to what we were looking for, and we changed a very little bit of that stuff too. But basically, we tried to stick with all ADA compliant material.
Weed, who's the weed?
The board, as well as, yes.
The town board.
The entire board, yes.
Okay,
With the exception, well, one is not here tonight. Yeah.
okay. Well, I'll be back if it's not acceptable to certain children. Anybody else has questions?
I will tell you this before I go to other questions. We also look at the opportunity for adult swings too. So if we do have that opportunity to actually add that, I'll let you know.
Very good.
All right?
How's Willie coming with those picnic tables? Did you get that work done?
No,
Handicap
I didn't get that
accessible?
work done because I had congestive heart failure and I also been in arrhythmia. And so I haven't been able to do that. And, but I will look into it because we're doing the work up there now, so I will address them.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Well, I'm not feeling better, but okay.
You brought jumper cables with you.
I got jumper cables and the wall battery.
So we'll do our best, correct?
Yes.
Somebody else had their hand up? Yes, ma'am.
I know we're doing a lot at the park. Is anything being done with the basketball court? Because I always see a lot of people using it. And it's
This
in a
basketball
little,
court over here?
yeah, it's in kind of sad
So
shape.
I will tell you this, that the anticipation in the beginning of this process was to also take the basketball court and move it down to the park. And we did look into the possibilities. I did get, through Sourcewell also, I did get estimates to do that, and I believe, don't hold me to the exact amount, but I believe it was something in the neighborhood of like $280,000. That would be only for the cost of building the basketball courts and the fencing and what have you. The additional cost that would be included in that would be the best possible place to put the basketball court we felt was down where the backstop is for the softball field, directly on the north side, on the opposite side of the path, in that corner of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, and being kind of the best place to put that, we would have to remove a section of those trees. We would have to very possibly install some sort of drainage in there. It's high enough that the water could be drained off into the ditch in the lower parking lot. But we felt that it would create a huge disturbance with moving the stumps and what have you in there. So what I did do is I looked to the possibilities and talked to the highway superintendent. Hopefully at the end of the season, we're gonna re-blacktop this one over here. I will tell you that I visit that court and the folks the kids and the adults that utilize that court almost on a daily basis. And I gotta tell you, there's a whole lot of really nice kids and parents that come and utilize that. Not only does our townsfolk utilize that, but a lot of relatives of the townsfolk come out from other towns and play over there.
Right.
They're pleasant, they're respectful, they come in, drink water, use the bathroom when we're open, and they, for the most part, pick up after themselves and keep things clean. But they definitely get a lot of use out of that, they really do. You know, that originally was intended to be a ice skating rink, and actually the very first year that they added water to it, somebody drove onto it and busted the ice up, and kind of never really took off, but it would be great to have that opportunity as well. But right now, the anticipation is to dress up what we have over there.
Okay.
And not only that, but in the future, look to moving it down to the park. You know, I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't think I'd ever want to lose this. If we didn't have, you know, a use for that property, I would love to see that maintained and utilized. A lot of kids walk to that. You know, that's kind of right in the middle of town, so.
No, I think it's a great place for it. I just hate to see it deteriorate the way that it is, because it is so, you know,
Yeah.
well
No,
utilized.
We definitely intend to put a coat of blacktop on it and dress it up some, for sure. So, and you know what, one of the nicest things about that too, and I have to say that, you know how well it's run by the complaints you get from the neighbors. Knock on wood, we really don't get a lot of complaints from the neighbors. You know, you would anticipate a lot of noise issues over there, a lot of foul language, a lot of whatever. But it seems to work out well. So that's really a good addition to the town. Okay, anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to remind everyone that we have a great community day coming up. Plattekill Day is September 21st, and it's going to be awesome.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am.
How much ARPA money is left?
I'd be telling you false. I don't know exactly. You can call me tomorrow and I can give you pretty close to the exact number. But there's still quite a bit of money that's left there.
Is there any projections on what you're gonna do with it by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, yes.
Well, I thought you have to.
There's several things that we are going to do. We're looking at an additional piece of equipment for the park and replacing the golf cart that's up there. The pool car, we are going to be making that purchase very soon. That'll be an addition here to the town hall. We're also looking into, well, we're not even looking into, when we get further down into the agenda, some of that money is being spent on the engineering fees to give us an assessment on the buildings. Some of that money is also being spent on the surveying, which I had a call out to them last week. And I am hoping by the end of this week, beginning of next week, we should have our surveys in our hands. Hoping in anticipation of having our workshops and approving one of the engineering companies, we had 3 quotes come in. We're hoping to move forward with that. So that's going to eat up a little bit of that money as well. But there is some other projects that we're talking about. Definitely.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, at this time, I will make a motion for at 7:55 PM to close public input.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to close public input with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay. So, old business. I think we spoke about the library removal of the equipment, and like I said, it did go out of there, leave there yesterday, so it is all removed. The only thing that remains over there is, I think, maybe 4 or 5 pieces of concrete, and they'll be removed out of there tomorrow when they remove the mulch out as well. The Gaga ball and the pickleball update. The court is in, or excuse me, not the court, the actual foundation, the concrete portion of it, and the concrete portion of the Gaga pit is in, and the anticipated completion of the actual floor being installed. That was being shipped out, I believe it was right before the holiday. With the holiday, they don't anticipate us receiving the product until Monday. So they did assure me that next week the floor will be into the pickleball and that portion of it should be done. What will be left will be the landscaping around it and the grass going back in. The same thing with the Gaga ball pit, that will be installed as well next week, and that flooring for that will also be delivered at that time. So the meeting dates, in anticipation of not having enough to have a quorum for Wednesday, I will make a motion that we move the meeting from 9/18/2024 to 9/17/2024 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Okay, a motion on the floor with a second to move the meeting from 9/18/2024 to 9/17/2024 at 7 p.m. And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carries. So Sarah, if you could get that out tomorrow and advertise that,
Yep.
I really appreciate that. So the next on the agenda is to set up a workshop meeting for the RFPs for the engineering of the buildings. And that would be for the engineers coming in. We put out the RFPs and we received 3 of them back, and three quotes. I don't have the names, they're on my desk, I should have brought that now. With that being said, each one of the councilmen you guys received tonight, you received a folder with the RFPs into them. Actually, if I could, just take a look at this, I'll give you the names of the quotes that we received. So we received a quote from Tinkleman Architecture PLLC from 33 Arlington Avenue, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12603. And we received one from Barton LaJudas. And Barton LaJudas, I believe, is out of Albany, New York. And the third we received is GPI. And GPI is Greenman Pedersen Incorporated, and I believe they are also out of Albany, but they do have a branch office on 15 Railroad Avenue, Suite 301, Kingston, New York, and the Albany address is 80 Wolf Road, Suite 600, Albany, New York, 12205. So these 3, I would like to ask the board to look them over diligently, and I would like to have a workshop meeting on that. So next Tuesday, we are going to meet at 7 p.m. Is there a desire to meet earlier than 7 p.m.? Or is it something that you folks feel comfortable that we can address during that meeting as a workshop portion?
You wanna meet earlier than 7, you said? So I'm not-
What would you like to do?
I don't know. I was just-
7's okay.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we keep the meeting at 7 o'clock?
Okay.
Why don't we dedicate a portion of that meeting to start looking at these or come with questions and comments? Why don't we stay in contact with each other from now until that time? I'm sure we will anyway, but, ask the questions and maybe we can come up with an idea by then and award them possibly that night or possibly the next meeting. But if there's any anticipation that you would like to sit down and do more of a formal discussion or meeting together collectively, then let me know and we will move forward with some sort of either special meeting in addition to the meeting or start the meeting earlier. But please, for the most important thing, do our due diligence, read and understand, ask questions, make notes, and we'll move forward with it. All right? Okay, so Town Hall air conditioning. We have had some issues with our air conditioning here over the past couple of months. It's been a crazy weather summer. But our highway superintendent has reached out and looked at the possibilities of updating our air conditioning units. He did get 3 quotes. And it says here, to the town board of the town of Plattekill from Robert Wager Senior, Highway Superintendent. The date this is received is 8/29/2024, and this is the Town Hall air conditioners. Please review 3 proposals for replacement of the 2 central air conditioning units for the town hall. At this time, I would recommend Northeast Climate Solutions for the amount of $15,500. So, there is an estimate here, and bear with me while I open this up. There is one estimate here from T. Weber.
Yeah, that one was actually very detailed, everything he was gonna do.
And that was in the amount of $16,440.59.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I did not see, I do see that there's a, estimated for finance of $382.56, but I did not see, I thought maybe there was something there also with tax, which we do not pay tax on. The next one is Northeast Climate Solutions Incorporated, it's 896 South Street, Highland, New York. And that came in, and it is proposal number 0305, August 8th, 2024. And that one is a quote for $15,500.
Yes, but when you, not for nothing, just looking at the estimates, if you look at one, it's like they detail every exact thing they're gonna do. And
Understood?
the other one is like, yeah, there's a few things there, but it's like, it's almost, is it apples to apples? I mean, he may be doing everything the same, but it'd be nice just to see it on paper.
Basically itemized.
Yes.
Yes, itemized would be, good.
Okay, so let me just read the other one. The other one is Home Depot, and Home Depot, we have
21,758.21, I think.
21 cents,
How is
yes.
Home Depot more than the other ones?
And this is basically the same thing. This is not, broke down. It does say it's include a 5-ton unextinguished stage AC condenser, 4-ton unextinguished stage air condenser case. All right, so we do have 3 quotes. So we have 3 quotes and questions and comments. Mr. Fazio.
I think my question, I would just like to see a more detailed, estimate, so we can compare, not really we, but, so we can compare apples to apples.
Just to make sure it's itemized is what you want, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
I think, yeah, just to have it done, yeah.
Okay, so to be fair, how about, I asked that we do something, itemize these so we can compare them comparatively?
Yes.
One
Yeah.
might be giving us something, the other one is not.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I will say, given the time of year, that we probably do have 2 weeks' time to do that. And I will reach back out to Mr. Weger to see if we can come up with something that would be specifically itemized so we can compare apples to apples.
Yeah, because Weber did give us a nice detail of everything that's being done.
And then just one other question that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
But who did the tonnage calculation and everything for the building? Did they each come in and do their own?
They probably, I would almost
Because what I was,
bet on it, that they probably looked at the units that are already here.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
what I was gonna suggest.
Dwight, you have any insight on that?
They looked at the ones that were already here.
They just
So
looked at the
basically
Two
units.
match-
different
same.
sizes
Yeah.
for,
So my question would be almost if we upsize the unit, is there any value in upsizing the unit?
Like the one that
To
is
have
for
a-
4, can we just make it 5?
no, 'cause then you'd be putting
Short
more
cycling.
power into it and being inefficient.
Are
You need the
these,
things to be efficiently matched up.
right, okay.
Getting the humidity out of the building if it don't run long enough.
They are sized to do what they need to do. If you go bigger, you're gonna be spending more money on the energy, and it's inefficiency.
Kind of like a computer, you're overbuying it.
Yeah.
Understood. All right, so what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Itemized.
Just ask for more details? Or?
Yeah, just
detail?
Yeah,
itemize it.
basically on the one he recommended, I'm sure he's probably dealt with them, and he knows them, but that's all, just more detailed estimate.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion with that.
We would like to get.
I'll second it.
I would like to get
Need a
details.
motion? Motion, second?
Make a motion, yes.
Yeah, yeah, make-
Okay, second?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor just to request some more detail. All right. So, resolution for the
amount of
police
time.
grant. Excuse me?
in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that quickly. So we can get this in the books by the next meeting. I'm hoping. I don't see any problem why we wouldn't.
No.
So we have a resolution 2024, number 59, 2024 budget amendment. Following resolution was introduced on a motion made by myself. Whereas the town board of the town of Plattekill has approved to increase revenue line A3389 and increase expense line A3120.202. Whereas this is necessary to show revenue and expense for receipt of a grant monies received from New York State Division of Criminal Justice Service for the town of Plattekill Police Department Law Enforcement Technology Lettich Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Plattekill, Ulster County, to amend the year 2024 general fund budget increase revenue line A3389 state aid, other public safety, and expense line A3120.202 police equipment in the amount of $115,800. Be it further resolved that funding shall be supported by receipt of a $115,800 ACH M&T bank number AP 00082503606 from Office of the New York State Comptroller's deposit on July 9th, 2024. So that is a motion, gentlemen.
I'll second
We have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor?
it.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. And we have another resolution. Resolution 2024, number 60, 2024 budget amendment. I will make the motion, whereas the town board of the town of Plattekill has approved to utilize the ARPA American Rescue Plan Act funds and increase expense line H2.0200 recreation/ARPA. Whereas this is necessary to show expense for the funds utilized through ARPA American Rescue Plan Act for the Gaga ball pit, pickleball court, playground equipment, and removal of mulch. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Plattekill, Ulster County, to amend the year 2024 general fund budget increase expense line H2.0200 recreation/ARPA in the amount of $338,000. Be it further resolved that funding shall be supported by the use of ARPA American Rescue Plan Act funds received in the year 2021 and 2022. As a motion,
I'll second that.
and we have a second. We have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
God bless.
Opposed? So carried. Bless you, whoever abstains. Okay, resolution for 2024, number 61. This is a 2024 budget amendment. And I will make a motion, whereas the town board of the town of Plattekill has approved the utilization, to utilize the bridge ban bond anticipation note funds and increase expense line H1.0200 bridge ban bond anticipation note. Whereas this is necessary to show expense for the funds utilized through the bridge ban bond anticipation note for the town of Plattekill to retain an engineer to design a bridge and culvert replacement for Old Mill Road over Passaic Creek, including data collection and analysis development of project objectives, environmental classifications and investigations, preliminary schedule and cost estimate, and preparation of a complete set of plans and bid documents. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Plattekill, Ulster County, to amend the year 2024 general fund budget increase expense line H2.0200 bridge ban bond anticipation note in the amount of $200,000. Be it further resolved that funding shall be supported by the use of financing is the issuance of a $200,000 serial bond to finance said appropriations and the levy of tax on all taxable real property within the town to pay the principal of said bond and interest thereon as the same shall become due and payable, and amounts received from the state of New York or federal aid shall be expended towards the cost thereof or redemption of the bonds issued therefore or shall be budgeted as an offset to the taxes to pay the principal of and interest on said bonds. So that is a motion, gentlemen.
Second that.
We have a motion with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. I would like to thank Councilman O'Flaherty for working your butt off on this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember
I'm sure
this
the
one.
town residents will appreciate it too. All right, so we are done with that. There is no transfers, and I will read the vouchers. So I would like to make a motion to approve the vouchers. I, Supervisor Depew, make a motion to pay the voucher detail report dated September 4th, 2024, which includes the A, general fund in the amount of $51,036.86, the DA highway fund in the amount of $31,163.79, capital projects in the amount of $840, no cents, recreation playground equipment ARPA in the amount of $84,834.80. This would be for a grand total in the amount of $167,875.45. Recognizes that the audit committee has reviewed the claims and found them acceptable for payment. So that is a motion.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. At this time, I would like to ask you gentlemen, do you have any questions, concerns, comments? Mr. Fazio?
Aye.
Mr. Castillo?
The drug task force money, did that ever come in?
That has not come in yet, and I am glad that you said that because I am going to place a call again Friday to follow up on that. I ask for just about once a week, and the anticipation is that that will be coming soon, and a presentation of those funds, that check, so to speak, should be made during one of our town board meetings.
Yes.
The exact amount, I do not know what that amount
Because
is.
we've been hearing about that for over a year.
We've been hearing about that since September of last year, and actually, I think it's several years that we did not receive that. So
Yes.
the anticipation is definitely getting the best of us, but hopefully that will come over the next month or so. But I will let you know when I make that phone call.
Okay, thanks.
All right? Councilman O'Flaherty?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Okay, that being said, sir,
May I ask a question?
okay, for you. Go ahead.
I wanted to go back up to the engineering issue with the building,
Yeah.
that you're having that meeting. You talked about 3 companies. What are the amounts that they suggested on their RFPs?
The RFPs, after the meeting, if you're okay with that, I can give you those numbers. I'll go
Okay.
through them, and I'll definitely give you those numbers.
Thanks.
All right, that being said, I will make a motion to adjourn at 8:15 PM.
Second. Second.
We have a motion on the floor with a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you, folks. Okay, let me find